You're listening to the Iron and Grace podcast, so pick up your sword and join the good fight.
Proverbs 18:22. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. This is Kyle.
This is Mateo.
Welcome to Iron and Grace. So it's 10:30 at night on Friday, and everybody has just left the shop. We're here for Mateo's bachelor party. Everybody remembers, well, maybe you guys who actually listen on a regular remember our episode where I was harping on a young friend of mine who needed to nut up and propose to his girlfriend. And this handsome young devil here
I'm the guy.
is that guy. And he has done exactly that. And the circumstances that brought him to making that decision, the life that he's working hard to build with her, his purpose, her purpose, and everything that they're trying to do and what their life is centered around is just, it's incredible. It makes me proud as a friend. And it makes me so excited for their future and everything that they're doing. So post-bachelor party, as wild as they get, wanted to do a podcast with Mateo and just talk about, well, for one, we'll talk about the party, and your decisions that have led you up to what will be the most exciting day of your life up to that point.
Yeah. So, like you said, he's been the guy that I've been talked about a couple times on the podcast, and this is me. Probably want to start out how I met her or how.
Yeah, sure. Give a backstory on you and Michelle, and how you met her, how you fell for her, how you pursued her. Give us a quick rundown on all that.
Yeah,
quick, whatever you want.
So just to make it a little quick, she worked at a restaurant that I went to very frequently, and she was the hostess. And I called in a bunch of orders all the time, to the point where she remembered my order and she remembered my voice whenever I called it in. And I just, one day, she gets on me for this all the time. But fellas, shoot your shot. It works every time. Even this. On Snapchat, I told her, is this the Michelle from the restaurant that she works at? And she just said, yes. That is what I said to her. So yes, shoot your shot.
Modern dating.
It works. She added me on Snapchat, and I honestly, I didn't know what to say at first because she was a really pretty girl. And how do you start a conversation?
Mateo's punching outside of his weight class.
Very much so. And how do you approach that? Honestly, how do you say something that somebody you've never met or never really talked to, other than it'll be $10.95. Here's my card. Swipe. So yeah, I was really nervous, but I invited her to a dance, and we danced all night, and it was super fun. And we kind of kicked it off from there. She wasn't living close at the time. I did have to travel and see her once. But it was kind of waiting for her to come back in the area. She was 3 hours away from where we live now. And that was rough, but
worth it.
Very much worth it, I will say. And then from then we just kind of blossomed, and I ended up doing Muay Thai, and then transitioned to jiu-jitsu.
Which I will take at least partial credit for, because I remember harassing you about that pretty regular.
Yeah. And I met Kyle. We kind of became friends, and then I got Michelle to come into jiu-jitsu, and then that's when he started bugging me. Like a really good bug. I'm glad he did it. And here we are now, 4 years later, at a bachelor party with somebody I didn't think it was going to be my pretty much lifelong friend. So that's a short rundown.
So I remember, probably what, you've been training about 4 years now?
Yeah, right around 4 years.
So for one, Mateo's Muay Thai is far better than mine, which is frustrating, especially when he was, just this kid coming in and just making me look terrible,
It's been a while.
which was great and not great at the same time. But I remember at one point, Jerry Lynn and I went out to eat or pick up food at the Mexican restaurant. And I think you and Michelle were leaving, or you were there eating. And I hadn't met her. She hadn't been to the gym yet. And I didn't know you all that well. And I'm like, I think that's Mateo. That must be his girlfriend. I remember telling Jerry Lynn, I'm going to ask him about her the next time he comes to the gym. And you came to the gym. I was like, so is that your girlfriend? And you're like, yeah. And I probably said it then. I'm like, so you going to marry that girl?
I think you did. If I remember correctly, I think you did. And at that point, I was like, what? Marriage? What was I, 21? 20? Maybe. I don't remember.
No, I don't even think you were 20 yet at that point.
And I was like, marriage? Like, what is that? Come on. And to put that in perspective, I was not deep in my faith at all. So yes, marriage was almost like a joke to me. Kind of like that thing that you talk about when you're 30. You're like, I'll get my life together when I'm 30. But now,
yeah,
24 now.
I'll get my stuff together. I'll get my life figured out, and then maybe I'll think about something like that.
Yeah. So when I heard that, and honestly, all the other times you said it to me, it was kind of like, what are you talking about? What is this?
It's this old guy telling me.
Yeah. But here we are now. Like you said, post bachelor party. Didn't think I'd be here, but honestly, the best moments of my life, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. And honestly, I've talked about moving. I've talked about doing this, talked about doing that, talked bad about the city and my career. But when you really have a deep dive and a deep understanding of scripture, you get humbled really quick. And everything around you just becomes a blessing, up to as little as the running water in your house. You just look at life differently. And again, I'm glad you've bugged me so many times about marrying this girl, because I've been waiting for this too. I just couldn't convince myself that marriage is a serious thing.
Well, over the last several years that I've gotten to know you as a friend, as a man and a professional in your profession and in your relationship with Michelle, and the more I see you guys together, the more I see you interact with her, the way you talk about her, the way you carry yourself around her, it was evident to me early that this was a direction that you would need to go in, or that you should go in. And then lots of kids, you're not a kid anymore, but lots of young men would stick with what you had initially thought. Like, oh, I'm going to get my life together. I'm going to get my stuff figured out. And then once I'm established, then I'll be prepared to maybe get married, maybe start a life with somebody. But when in reality, what you're doing with this young woman is you're creating this life together. So instead of Mateo figuring out Mateo's life and Michelle figuring out Michelle's life, and then you two making your separate lives work together, instead you're building this foundation there is no Mateo's life and Michelle's life. It's our life. And that's what a marriage is supposed to be. You come together and you become one. And it's not just one physically in the sex sense. I mean, that's part of it, but that's, the smallest part of it. It's the whole life that you build together. It's you as a family and the way you run your house. It's the way you raise children. It's the way you interact with other people. It's the way you do business. It's literally everything in your life. And it's so much better when it's together with somebody that you care so much for. And the way that you especially over the last few months, have really dedicated yourself to your faith, and leading her in faith has just been Man, it's been awesome. It's been awesome to watch.
And it's been almost you probably don't know a lot of the things that I haven't told you, a lot of things that have affected my life. And I don't know if I should say them, but.
Well, the whole world is listening. So
Yeah.
all 14 people.
Michelle knows this very well, of just the 360 that it has done to both of our lives, really. But mainly how we view each other. We did previously live together, and not that it was a struggle, but we both felt that something was missing. We both felt that something wasn't right. Even though we saw each other every night, we weren't arguing as much, or things were, okay, finances were fine. We still felt like something was missing, and we just couldn't put our finger on it. And I knew the answer. I just ran from it just because of my own stupidity, I guess. Ignorance and stupidity. And I like to think about the prodigal son. That is one of my absolute favorite stories of the Bible, because it reminds me of every single time that I have just ran away into filth, sin, and everything bad, and just came back, and he was there waiting with open arms. And not that every problem went away, but the way we approach things, and the way our, I guess, new structure is, and just everything around, like friends, all of you guys here, I just never would have expected this if I didn't give my life to Christ. Yeah.
And the ride ain't over, homie. There's plenty of trouble ahead. But like we talked about earlier, that's part of the adventure. Like that's the Disney happily ever after is crap. And thank God, because if that was it, if we had one adventure and then it's smooth sailing after that, how boring would that be?
It would
be boring.
It would be very boring.
So we get to, you get to have a new adventure every day, and some of them kind of suck for a short time, and some of them are just awesome. But, when you approach it with the way that you're approaching it now, with, Christ is the center of our relationship, period. I love you, bride. You love me, but Christ is first. He's the center. He's the foundation that we're built upon. So when I screw it up, we've got him, his grace, his mercy covers me, and vice versa in all directions. And as long as you keep that in the center, then you have no reason to fail. And there are plenty of people that tell you, well, sometimes it just doesn't work out, or this or that. And at the end of the day, excuses are excuses.
Yeah.
There's no reason that it needs to fail. It can be awesome. It can be a great adventure from now until the rest of your life. And it'll be a blessing to you, to your children, to your grandchildren, to your great-grandchildren, and so on and so forth. And I'm just super excited, super, super, super excited to be here with you on this ride. I love it. I love every second of it.
Yeah. Glad you're here for it.
I do.
You get to see the very beginning, and hopefully all the way. But I do want to talk about something that really resonated with me tonight, was what Drew said about, I think it's Genesis 2:18 as well, where you leave your mother and father and you guys become one flesh. It is truly your own household. You make your own culture, you make your own traditions, you make your own, whatever it might be, you make it your own. And learning that was one of our issues coming up in the relationship early really helps, because we had those issues of, my parents taught me this way, her parents taught her this way, or her friend, whoever it might be. taught her a certain way. Now we come together with these two clashing or different ways, and they just don't work out. And we learned early that, like, hey, like what Drew said, we get to make our own stuff. We get to make our own, we can watch TV past 9 o'clock, something as stupid as that. But it's true. You guys are building your own family. You guys are building your own house. You guys are building your own legacy that you get to talk about, that you get to carry on for the rest of your life. And not that everything that you guys said tonight resonated with me, but that probably resonated with me the most because I feel like that's what we've struggled with a little bit.
And you will, because she's going to carry that stuff with her, and you're going to carry that stuff with you. And that's okay. That's part of it. And that doesn't necessarily go away, but you learn how to, instead of the things from your past being wounds that you try and get away from, they become lessons. And sometimes they're lessons that teach you what absolutely not to do. Sometimes they've got a little bit of wisdom in them. And sometimes it's things that stick with you in a good way. And that's okay. We're all products of the environment that we grew up in. And some of those things are hard to shed. Jerry Lynn has things that she does that are similar to her mother. I hope she doesn't hear me say that because she won't necessarily be excited about that. But it's true. It is. And I have things that I do that are similar to the ones that bother me are the things that I do and say that are similar to my stepdad. And I did not have a good relationship with him. And he'll come out of me from time to time. And I'm like, why? And I know it. As soon as it happens, I'm like, why in the hell did I just say that? But I do it. And that's okay. We recognize each other's shortfalls and shortcomings, and that's okay. It's just part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, like you're saying, Michelle knows she's, not that she said it, but she knows I say some stuff that my dad probably would have said. And I look at myself and I'm like, wait
call
a minute.
yourself on it before she can call you on it. And I recommend you not saying you sound like your mother right now. Don't do that.
Yeah, that is not
unless it's a super positive in that moment, but it's pretty rare that it is.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's talk about the party.
Oh man. So
what did you think?
It's honestly everything that I wanted to have in a bachelor party. We had the discussion that I'm not sure if all the viewers have seen The Hangover, but when you think of a bachelor party, that's usually what you think about, or going to the bar, getting trashed with your best friend. And that is the opposite of what I wanted to have. The whole point of our marriage that we talked about was having Christ in the center. And I wanted to keep that happiness and that good feeling along every step. Now, getting trashed and forgetting everything does not sound like a good time. As many times as I've done that, it's not fun. And also, me and Michelle, every time that we do even have just a sip of alcohol, we think of the thing that you said to us, which was...
I'm glad I can ruin all your good times.
Yeah. But you say you don't regret it in the morning ever, or something like that.
Is that you never wake up the next day and regret not drinking?
Yes.
Which is definitely something that I have stolen from somebody else at some point, I'm sure.
But it resonates with us. Yes, it does. And
is that yours or is it mine?
That's mine.
Okay.
You want one?
I've got one somewhere.
Okay.
No, go for it. I just didn't want to grab it and you'd be like, why are you drinking my water?
No. But yeah, this is kind of what I wanted to have. And your idea of everything and Ben's idea, still incorporating some fun because it's supposed to be fun, but also keeping the message and the whole point of the marriage kind of in the center of everything. So Michelle texted one of the guys and emailed him about all of my not favorite things that I don't like. Food-wise. And then asked a bunch of questions. And everyone I got wrong, I had to eat or mix or whatever it might be of the thing I didn't like.
Yeah. So this was Ben's idea. This was Ben. Now, I think because they did this at his bachelor party. And I think some of the things that he had to do were shots or, I think his bachelor party was wild on the other end. But he came up with the idea of 10 questions that Mateo would probably not know the answer to, which we had Michelle's help with. And along with those questions, something horrifyingly disgusting that he would have to consume if he got the question wrong as punishment. Some of the questions I thought some of them were kind of softballs, and some of them I thought were almost too hard. But you did okay.
Yeah.
What did you have? About a 50-50 split?
Yeah, when
you've got a conversation. You've got a conversation to have tomorrow for sure.
Yeah, especially about the car and the dishes. That one.
That's a conversation that I think I'm going to have with her as the authority on what is and what is not a cool car. I will talk to her about that.
And I know you're listening to this, and as many times as you talk about Lightning McQueen and Corvettes, I'm a little hurt about that one.
I'm glad it wasn't a Corvette. Good job on that. We'll work on it from there.
But yeah, I see stuff like that. Like that was fun. That was still fun, and that was still, not getting away from the point, but still having some type of fun with it and making it enjoyable. And I mean, I didn't enjoy eating clam juice and Dr. Pepper.
The rest of us.
But it was still fun. And the knife forging. I'll let you tell that. That was very nice.
So it was my job to plan this party. I have planned now one party ever in my entire life.
That was great.
Not my strong suit, but I had this idea of forging a knife together, as a group for Mateo for a wedding present. And the reason that I thought, for one, being martial artists and, into guns and knives and everyday carry and all that stuff, a knife is cool. It's a useful tool that you can actually use, and if it's taken care of, it can last forever. Your kids can have it when you die. And the thought of forging it together, for one, it being this group of men that, are like family, working together to forge it. For one, is hilarious because you can tell some of these guys have never swung a hammer before, or at least not very much. But regardless, us working together as men that are all focused on the same thing, forging this into something that's powerful and useful and sharp, like a marriage, that we could all work together to create this thing and give it to you as a gift. I thought that would be really cool. And, the representation of actually forging the knife and sharpening the knife and what a knife is and what a knife can be has a lot of parallels to a marriage. Like I said, building a marriage takes pressure, it takes time, it takes struggle. There are times when it looks like it may not be salvageable. Hey, you look at that. If you would have looked at that knife.
We should have brought it in here.
I could go grab it. Look at that knife, when we first started the forging process, and it's like, I don't know, it's just a blob. Maybe it's going to turn into something. Maybe it's going to end up in the scrap pile. And after a couple hours of us working together and beating on it and heating it some more and beating on it and heating it again over and over and over, now it's shaped pretty close to the knife that you had a hand in designing, which is cool too. So we laid a bunch of knives on the table, like, okay, what shape do you like? What do you want it to be? And of course you picked the most complicated freaking one, which is fine.
It wasn't even an option. Somebody pulled them out of the pocket.
Pulls it out of his pocket, and I'm like, Damn it, Aiden. Okay, we're going to do it. But if you look at that chunk of metal now, you can see the knife in it. You can see what it can become, and what it will become. And, through the forging, through the pressure, through the molding process, you get something that's very strong because of the pressure that it's been under, because of the heating and cooling and the quenching that it'll go through. It's strong. It's hard. It's just malleable enough. It'll be a useful thing that's good to use. Like a marriage, it's going to take care. You're going to have to periodically sharpen it. You don't want it to get rusty. You have to continue to pursue your wife. You have to continue to pursue your marriage. There's just a lot of parallels there that I thought were really cool and meaningful and, a little bit cheesy, which I have a tendency to do from time to time. But that was how I came up with the idea. And I thought it was fun. Again, getting some of the guys getting a hammer in their hands and watching them struggle a little bit was fun.
I think that was my favorite part.
And I think everybody who came got to spend at least a little bit of time with a hammer in their hands.
Yeah.
Which was the point.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, not to pick on some of our friends, but it would have been more interesting if a couple of you guys would have showed up. That would have been funny to see. Just because we know you guys. But we love you. We love you, but it would have been
We would have
funny.
loved to watch you suffer too.
Yes, it would have been fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was a fun process, and it's obviously not done, but it was fun watching this thick rectangle become, even just looking at it, become the shape of a knife, just with something as simple as fire and a hammer. And that was cool to me.
And nobody bled.
Well, tell them the story about your
I
finger.
bled, but not during the process. I decided at 2:00 today when I knew I had to leave the shop at 3 to get cleaned up so I could look, not like a homeless person. About 2:00, I decided I don't have a stand for my anvil. I don't really want it just on the table because it's going to be at a funny height and someone's going to drop it on their foot and it's going to be a mess. So I'll whip up a stand for my anvil real quick. So I'm working in a fury, and I tacked some pieces together and I wasn't real happy with it. I wanted a piece to move, and I just tapped it with the hammer, and the tack broke, which was what I wanted to happen. The tack broke and slipped off, and I mashed my finger between the hammer handle and the broken tack weld, and I was bleeding all over the place. So I bled for my brother today.
I don't know anybody that would do that for me. So that...
Well, obviously that's not true, Mateo. Damn it, I'm right here, homie.
When you said that, when you told me about that, I was like, really? He did that for me? Like, it's still a shocking thing to...
I sent a picture to Drew. I was like, homie, I'm bleeding all over the place for this young man here.
Yeah, I didn't see the picture.
Yeah, there's through the tape.
Oh, yeah. I've had my fair share of cutting my hands open. Yeah.
It's just a minor one. Just a
Yeah, my hands are scarred.
just a scratch.
Yeah. But yeah, after forging it, I was ready for the Shark Tank. There was a jiu-jitsu mat out there.
I had jiu-jitsu mats laid out, and not one person went on those mats.
Well, when you sent the picture this morning, of the area, I didn't even pay attention to anything. I just saw a mat, and I'm like, I'm about to get Shark Tanked for my bachelor party.
It would have been a great idea.
Yeah.
I hung a dartboard up. Nobody once picked up a dart other than Aiden.
I think he did it when we first walked in the
Yeah,
shop.
Aiden threw one dart and missed the dartboard by like 3 feet. So,
But yeah. And then I think it was you who said that everybody give one piece of advice.
yeah, I have to do all the cheesy things. I am one that likes the corny things for sure.
I really liked that. I didn't think that was cheesy or corny at all. I think that was really important. Like I said, having fun, but still having the meaning there. And
I think we need to refocus the idea of the bachelorette party in this country, like big time. And instead of it being this is your last chance as a single person to do all these things, and then to carry into your marriage a whole bunch of secrets that you don't necessarily want your wife to know, I think we should be spending time celebrating what's about to be and encouraging the young man, young woman in what they're going into. I think that's, taking the opportunity to share a little bit of wisdom, a little bit of experience so that us guys that have been married for a while have. I really enjoyed it. And I got advice, from the other guys in the room too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just going on that bachelor thing, quote unquote, we've been doing everything untraditionally. And I think, like you're saying, we need to refocus not just the bachelor party, but just marriage in general. Like I said, we've been doing everything quote unquote untraditionally. Like I went to her when we went dress shopping, and that was probably one of the greatest experiences. Just seeing her so happy, feeling like a bride, feeling like how she should feel. Having her family there, whoever wanted to be there, and just seeing her in the moment feel like a bride, because she is. She's going to be a bride. Mm-hmm. We're going to be married, and we're going to be one with Christ. And you really got to take in that feeling. And other things like the bachelor party, not getting trashed. And like you're saying, going out, you think of The Hangover, the movie, when you're doing a bachelor party, you want to drink, you want to do whatever and get trashed. And, then you really ask yourself, what are you getting married for? What is your purpose? What is your reason for getting married? Is it just another thing to do along with society, or just because the guys in the shop said, not like you had good intentions behind what you said, but I've had blue collar guys come to me and say, you tying the knot yet? They say it in some type of derogatory way, like hurry up and do it. And then they give their 2 cents on that.
I've definitely given more than 2 cents.
You've given
several dollars worth.
You've given $5 to $100. They give their 2 cents, but also just, guys, he can say from experience too, it is such an easy process when you actually want to get married. When me and Michelle looked at each other one day and we're like, what are we doing? It kind of finally hit us after we came back to Christ, is what are we doing? What is this going to look like? And what are we waiting for? If we truly believe, like you said, that we are going to be together forever and we are going to have Christ in the center of our relationship and we want to build a family together in a home, what are we doing? Just do it. And all the stuff on TV is a lie.
Yeah, man.
The process has been so easy. The biggest stressor that we had was planning the party that we ended up saying we're not doing anymore. And even the party was still kind of not like a big stress. But when we dropped that and we did everything else, the process is so easy. So
I think that's an important thing too. There's tends to be so much pressure on the wedding and the planning and the party, and the point of the wedding is so that you two are married. That's the point. Should it be fun? Should it be beautiful? Should it be all those things? Sure, that's great. That's good stuff. But that's far secondary to the main thing, which is you want to be married to you. You need to do the do yous, don't yous, I do's in front of the right people so the right papers can be signed. That's the important part. And everything else should be a joyful process. And to the point where it becomes, well, we're doing this so that these people aren't upset, and we're doing this because we feel like we're supposed to do this to satisfy what these people think we're supposed to do. All that is crap. Screw all that. You don't have to have a gigantic after party or reception. The ceremony doesn't have to be in a freaking castle, or none of that crap matters. None of that crap matters. What matters is I want to spend the rest of my life with you. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Let's prove it in front of some people so that they can hold us accountable. And let's start this life together. And that's obvious on your face, and it's obvious on Michelle's face, and that's that's a big part of why I have been so confident in you guys and why I've been pushing you so hard is, I can see there's, like the puppy love, like I'm so head over heels in love with you right now. I know I'm so head over heels in love with you right now. And that's cute and that's great. And that's a wonderful part of dating and getting married. And I mean, hey, I've been with Jerry Lynn for 21 years and she still gets me like that. It's still like that. And it's awesome. But oh shit, I lost my train of thought. Sorry, it's late, guys. I had a lot of caffeine today.
This was a 5-minute plan. It was like 5-minute, last-minute plan.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm not ready. I was talking to them before when they were setting everything up, was like, it's so weird when you see it, and then when you're on the set, it's like you're starstruck,
By this teeny, tiny little black room with a camera that sits halfway outside the door.
I haven't told you this, but when I worked for the commercial company, HVAC company, we had a famous news station, and it's something that I grew up watching. And we actually got to go behind the scenes and like go on the set or whatever, because we took care of one of the buildings. And it's kind of like the moment that I'm having right now. It's like, I watched this and now I get to see it. This is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But
It's fun. So how about sharing some of the advice that the guys gave you tonight?
So
maybe I'll remember where my squirrel took off to.
So one I already said about Drew, that kind of resonated with me a lot. But also,
I was picking on Drew too because he's the most newlywed out of the group. He's only been married like 5 or 6 years.
I like how that's newlywed, but it is. It really is, because it's a lifelong journey.
Yeah.
But Joe's advice. His advice was something that we already see, which I find very funny, because I end up being quiet during the time. He said if you guys are having an argument or you guys are short with each other, there might be some bickering, that just ask each other or ask yourselves, are you hungry? Something as simple as that. Are you hungry? Am I hungry? Let's go eat real quick. And whether that looks like going out to dinner, picking up McDonald's. I don't eat McDonald's, but picking up something quick, or making dinner and then eating, and then
chips and guac is super, super, super fast, and it can get a conversation smoothed out pretty quickly.
Yeah. Now, like I said, it was funny because we had already dealt with things like that. We would be either short with each other or, something would happen. And then during the car ride to whatever restaurant or wherever we're going, we're not quiet, but I'm quiet because I see what's going on and I know what's happening, and I'm just waiting for her to say it because I know it already. But we're on the way to the.
She is our number one listener.
She is, but she knows this. She knows this, and she's gonna laugh when she hears it because I'm gonna say exactly what she says. But then we'll be in the middle of ordering. We'll be eating. And then on the drive back, she will talk up a storm, and I love it because this is not the Michelle that I knew.
15 minutes earlier?
An hour earlier, 15 minutes earlier. This is not the Michelle that I knew 15 minutes earlier. She's talking up a storm. She's telling me about, something that she saw, and I love it. I love to hear it on the way home. And she says it herself. I think I was just hungry. Yeah. And I'm like, I just shake my head or nod my head. And I'm like, yeah, I know. That's why I got dressed really fast to go to this restaurant.
Yeah. Jerry Lynn and I both, we can both get the hangry. The hangry is real in our house, especially when the kids are all right at, within an arm's reach of Jerry Lynn. They do it when she's in the kitchen. That's the time when they like to gather around her the closest. And it's also the time when she gets the most anxious about that. And if she's also hungry on top of that, it's tough. It's tough.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when that bag of chips comes out and the guacamole comes out of the fridge. It's like, here, honey, I'll put a chip in her mouth. And she'll look at me. She'll give me that. And the Lorax quote comes to mind every time. She'll go, I'm going to eat this, but I'm highly offended by it. And she'll eat that first chip, and then everything starts to get better.
Yeah.
And I'm the same way. But where she just gets a little bit cranky when she's hungry, I'm a dick. Like I don't think you've ever experienced me as
I haven't
a
yet.
hungry prick, and I hope you never do.
I haven't yet.
But yeah, I can be a real jerk when it's like the hungry, tired combination turns me into a jerk. I don't know why she puts up with me as good as she does, but she does. And that's part, I said, that's part of the thing.
Yeah. The other piece of advice, who was it? One of the other guys.
Let's see, it was Joe, Ben.
It was Ben.
Me, then Donnie, then Ronnie, then Drew.
Ben, when he said to be a servant, that is one of the biggest things and the biggest challenges that I've had, or we have had in our relationship. Because, again, going back on what I said about making your own culture and making your own house is very important. Everybody knows that I talk to, especially how traditional my family is, and especially my dad. Now, I'm traditional too. Michelle's traditional, but it looks differently. Having to not push it as hard and almost unlearn it, because the Bible says, treat your spouse in a certain way. A man, I can't quote it now, but treat your wife as...
Love your wife as Christ loved the church.
Yes. And I really had to dive in.
And lays down his life for them.
Yep. I really had to unlearn and learn what the scripture was telling me and not what I have known all of my life, because it was a really hard time when we were living together. And the only word to put it is machismo. Things would pile up or stuff wouldn't get done and the house was a wreck, or, she works later, she gets home later, and she really busts her butt around that house as soon as she gets home. And I appreciated that, and I underappreciated it because she either made dinner before she left, or she started it, or she did all these things. And I'm just sitting here, and I didn't say this, but in my mind, I'm like, this isn't done. And I had to really unlearn that fast, like within a month or less, because I realized what it was doing to our relationship and how much I didn't want to ruin this, basically. And that piece of advice and like you said, outserve her.
Which, as I said, you won't be able to do.
Yes, you won't be able to do, because if you both outserve each other, you guys are going to love each other forever. You're always going to be appreciative of whatever somebody does. And it's not being a yes, sir, yes, ma'am, servant style, whatever it might be, that the internet says whatever.
Yeah, no, it's quite the opposite of that, because the yes, sir, yes, ma'am, I'll do whatever you say because you say to do it is not sacrificial service. That's being a servant and being a slave are not the same thing. I'm not serving my wife because she's telling me to or even asking me to. I'm serving her so that she doesn't have to. Not like, she expects it and she's not going to appreciate it anyways. It doesn't matter if she appreciates it. It doesn't matter if she expects it. I'm serving her in the way that she needs to be served. If that's what she hopes for and that's what she appreciates, then great. If she doesn't appreciate it, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to serve her.
Yeah.
That's just it's what you do.
Yeah. And like I said, that was kind of the hardest part, just growing up and seeing not how things fell apart, but just, it might work for certain people. But again, you're making your own culture to see how it works for you two, because you two are, coming from different perspectives, and some things just don't work. And the sooner you realize that and you humble yourself, and like I tell Michelle, the word that resonates with me the most is humility. In the Bible is humility. When there is humility in anything, it just it brings the best out of people, and it makes the best relationships when you have humility. And a lot of people are extremely prideful, and they don't have humility. And honestly, I think it's one of the toughest ones to beat.
I was going to say, that's me, homie. I'm a prideful dude. I try real hard, but I'm a prideful guy. I really like the word meekness. Christ was the perfect example of meekness. And meekness, I think, we have a bad tendency to define meek as weak. And if you bounce that word off of Christ, it was not weak. There's nothing weak about that man.
He defeated death.
Meekness is power under control. So I don't serve my wife because I have to. I don't serve her because she's going to be mad at me if I don't, or because I don't have any other choice. I serve her even though I have the status in my household where I could say, honey, it's your job to do these things. I need you to get these things done. Would she do it? Yes. Yeah, she would. But me having the position, authority in my house to do that, and serving her instead is meekness. And I think that's a much better way to show, my appreciation for her, my love for her, is not by, yes, I work hard, I earn the money, I pay for the things, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, sure, I do that. But on top of that, I want to come home and I want to serve her. I want to love her in a way that shows her, not only do I appreciate you and you taking care of my house and giving me children and all these things, but I appreciate you in such a way where I want to take away some of your burden.
Right.
Does that make sense? Again, I'm like still vibrating a little bit from
yeah. No,
from
yeah.
our wild night.
Yeah. Debauchery. But it was growing up and seeing what certain things do to a relationship and unlearning them is really hard at first. But
yeah, and you still have a long way to go.
Oh yeah, I know. We're not even
you're not even married yet.
Not even married yet.
Don't screw it up yet. Come on.
But it really is. But like you said, it's really important to learn these things really early. It helps. You're going to face them and face other hard things down the line for the rest of your life. But when you learn things early and you see what path it takes the relationship down, you know which way to go. You know which way not to go. You know which way to go. And you have a good base. And it's really important to keep that in mind. Your own culture, your own family, your own house. Make it how you guys work. And what I really want to touch on is the internet lie of this. It's true. Everybody can have a stay-at-home mom, and every woman wants to be a stay-at-home mom or whatever. But in reality, that's not always what it looks like, and you have to adapt to that. Being online all the time, you see like all these people having their stay-at-home moms, and the dad's working and everything's this, and I have my job, you have your job. And when you face reality and you get off the internet for a second, you turn off your phone, That's not how it is. And that will ruin your relationship just as fast, is listening to the internet. Or
What do you mean? You
So-
mean like in the roles? Like,
So roles-
I go to work, I come home, I expect you to have the house done, that kind of thing?
that kind of thing. Also, the reality of, some people can have that and some people can't. So like where we are at in our lives, Michelle is a full-time student while having a full-time job.
Yeah, how many degrees is she working on?
She's got a lot, and she's working on her master's degree. And I'm really proud of her for that. And she knows how proud of her I am for that. But just things aren't always how they are on the internet.
Things are very rarely how they are on the internet.
And it's really important to remember that before you feed yourself. And, because I'm not going to lie, with the things that I had in the household kind of reflected of or agreed with what I saw on the internet of, traditional this, that, roles are this way. But in reality, I'm not making the best money. She's not making the best money. And she's in school full time. And, I'm doing other things full time, chasing certifications. I just finished my degree. And, in this time and age, inflation and all these other things, some of us have to work more than we can and not be at the house and getting things done. So that's why I want to drive that part of, just because it's like one way, and you see it on the internet or you see it of some people, it's probably not going to work out for you, because we have to live in reality. And, she has to work too. I have to work, I have to help clean the house. She has to cook dinner. I have to cook dinner, whatever it might be. The humility and the sooner you learn that, the easier your relationship will become.
Yeah. And which you guys aren't taking, but when it comes to having kids and making the decision for your wife to be a stay-at-home mom or to continue working, those are decisions for individual families to make. And everybody's situation is a little bit different. And the means in which you live play a big part. We don't make a lot of money in my house, but we never have. And Jerry Lynn's been a stay-at-home mom since our oldest was born. So we've never known anything else. And that was the decision that we made for lots of reasons. And I wouldn't have it any other way. It's amazing. It's hard. It's hard financially. It's hard for her just simply because she's never, ever, ever off the clock. But it's very rewarding. In small ways, in big ways. It's rewarding in, the personalities of our kids and the way they carry themselves and the way they interact with others, being as they have, they're being taught by their parents. And there's a lot to that. But that doesn't mean that having a mom that works is wrong or bad. It may mean that there's a little bit more effort required in the evenings. When you're around the kids, you have to put the time in to make sure that your kids are still raised by you and not raised by some other institution. But it's also not a decision that you guys have to make right now.
Yeah.
And like so many other things, like every other thing, if you approach that decision through this lens, then you're going to make the right decision for you guys. And, you got yourself a smart girl.
Oh, yeah.
She's very sharp. And for her, that might mean using that brain in the workforce. Or it might not. It might mean using that brain to teach your kids at home. That's, a decision for you guys to make. And to struggle with a little bit. And that's okay. Cool. That's part of the deal. You don't have to worry about that yet. We're at the be excited stage.
Oh, yeah. Still super excited. But yeah, going on unlearning. I can go on that, but I'll go on about that all day. But growing up, my mom wasn't allowed to work. Let's just say it that way. And she wasn't allowed. Like, there were major arguments and major problems when my mom pursued her career. And it didn't work out. You know, the house kind of fell apart. Like, it was kind of bad. But seeing that and learning that, growing up and having to unlearn that is difficult. And again, that goes with making your own culture and seeing what works for you guys. I think it's really important. And like, we live in a different time. We really do. I have a bunch of discussion with my coworkers about what they do for hobbies, and they look at me weird and they say, "What hobbies?" You know, I go to my second job, and I'm like, "You have a second job?" And they're like, "Yeah, my wife does too." And, you know, this is the reality of the world that we live in. Like,
Well,
we have to form and adapt, but keep Christ in the center of it.
yeah, and we also have a tendency in this world to spend and spend and spend and spend.
That is very true.
And if you make 60 grand a year, then you're spending 62 grand a year. If you make 160 grand a year, then you're spending 175 grand a year. And, you know, we have categorized wants into the needs file. You know, you don't need a brand new car. You don't need a huge house. You don't need 14,000 channels on cable. You know, there are so many things that we need in this country that put us so far into debt that you have no choice but to work multiple jobs, crazy hours, not to get ahead, just so that you can barely keep up. And that's a decision that you know, the earlier you make, like, hey, we're just going to live within our means. And if our means are small, then the way we live should represent that. And that's okay. You know, even everybody says kids are so expensive. Having kids is so expensive. It's really not true. You know, you don't need the super fancy diaper genie and the separate changing table from the bassinet from all the other gadgety bullshit stuff. Kids don't need all that stuff. They also don't care. They care that they have mom and dad, that they're fed, that they're changed, that they've got a safe place to sleep. That's pretty much it. So, you know, a lot of what, you know, culture in the modern world says that we need to do and need to have, it just heaps on more burden and more stress onto what we already have. And a bunch of that crap doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You know, our needs are far more basic than we have come to believe.
Let me say this real quick. Finances. Dave Ramsey, you are 100% correct. When you guys agree on finances, because that is a big part of marriage too.
Oh, yeah.
And also I want to shout out Caleb Hammer. You probably never see this. He's a super famous podcast, financial guy.
Oh, yeah?
But
well, I mean, so are we, kind of. We have like, I don't know, almost 200 subscribers on YouTube now.
Oh, nice. No, but shout out to Caleb Hammer. He really opened my eyes about budgeting, finances, and all this other stuff. And the sooner that we adapted and I got Michelle to get in onto it, and she listens to the podcast too now, and we both have our own spreadsheets that he created. But, you know, we're super open about our finances. We're super open of what needs to get paid, what every dollar, whatever it might be. Once you agree and are open about finances, it's kind of like, I don't know why finances are such the taboo topic for relationships. It's kind of, that I never understood. But yeah, we learned that early too, is finances, and learning about finances, learning about debt and all this other stuff. and how to manage it was really important, and what our financial future looks like, because we want a house, we want to move, we want to, have a car when we can afford it. Like you're saying, not going into all this crazy debt. When you make $60,000 a year and you're in $62,000 worth of debt, like that just doesn't make sense. Yep. But yeah, guys, once you agree on finances quick and young, it becomes super easy.
Yeah, it's way easier to decide to not get in a bunch of debt than to decide to try and get out of a bunch of debt, for sure. And
especially for a wedding. Both of those
positions.
Yeah, especially for a wedding.
Yeah. Going into crazy debt for a wedding is we didn't. We had a pretty inexpensive wedding, but it doesn't seem like a fantastic way to start.
Yeah, like I said, it's super easy. The process has been super easy and really cost effective. And we are still enjoying it. You can still fully enjoy it when you really have Christ in the center, or just which is the purpose. But having that purpose of why you're getting married has really, really made the process simple and enjoyable.
Yeah. Okay, so Ben said, serve your wife. What did Donnie tell you?
What did Donnie say? He said I
think Donnie said to date your wife.
Date your wife. Yes. Very important. Date your wife. And saying this a lot, but learning it early, but being tied up with her in her bachelor's degree, her master's degree, working crazy hours, us having basically opposite schedules, and then having our own things that we have to do, we honestly forgot to date each other, And I've apologized to her for this, but I'm not much of a TV guy. I don't watch TV. I don't sit down and watch TV. I'm a very video game at my computer type of guy. And not anymore.
Yeah?
Not anymore.
Oh gosh, quit giving me reasons to be proud of you too. Come on.
I haven't, and Michelle knows this too, I haven't touched a video game in I don't know how long now. Probably a couple months.
To hear.
But
I know there are lots of guys out there that love video games. I just can't.
I still love them. I'm still a computer nerd. For you guys that don't know, I'm a very big computer nerd. But
I am not.
But I learned to love watching TV just because I'm doing it with her. Like The Sopranos, guys, Sopranos is a good show. Let me tell you that. Pitt, great show. Please watch that.
Pitt?
Yeah, it's called Pitt. Okay. Or The Pitt. It's about kind of like a Grey's Anatomy, but way
Jeremy
better.
was just telling me about that. It's like the modern ER.
It's way better. Way better.
Which I guess you probably don't remember ER, do you?
No. Okay.
No.
But just
us old guys remember ER.
That's the middle ground. That's building your own culture. That's unlearning whatever you learned, or it's fun.
Dude, I'll tell you, for us, and we don't watch much TV. We'll watch. The kids love there's a live channel or it's not live. It's a streaming channel of MythBusters, and the kids are in a MythBusters kick right now. And her and I will watch movies. Mm-hmm. Usually once a week, either Friday night or a Saturday night. We'll sit up with we'll each have a pint of ice cream, and we'll either snuggle up on the couch, or I finally put a TV that works in our room, so we'll lay next to each other and eat ice cream and watch a movie. And it's a little thing, but we don't watch much TV at all, and that's time that it's just us, and we're together. We're both focused on the same thing. Life kind of quiets down for a couple hours, and it's great. We call it that's our fake date.
Yeah.
Because, it's hard to get out and actually go on a date when you have a bunch of kids at home and life happening and all those things. It gets hard. Sometimes it's more of a hassle to go out and get dinner or anything like that than it is to just get the kids to bed early and sneak away and watch a movie. And hey, you can, if you're in your own house, you can watch the movie naked, and that's nice too. So, this is wisdom for you about to be married.
Yeah.
But yeah, just spending time together, enjoying each other's company is awesome. Let the rest of the world quiet out for a little bit. And sometimes, she carries, talk about my marriage and my wife now, she carries her stress and anxiety. It's very hard for her to quiet those things down. But typically at some point in that movie, we're sitting together, she's leaned up against me. At some point, the stress and the noise and everything starts to quiet down, and she can just relax. And it doesn't last very long, because the next day life starts happening again. But just that little bit of time to recharge and reset is super nice. It's super important.
Yeah, and finances, I know that's usually a big, we don't go on dates because of finances. Like you're saying, just that simple, something as simple as ice cream in a movie. And let me tell you, you can still go on spectacular dates on a very, very tight budget, because I have learned, I didn't know how much I like hockey. And we have a local team. Their tickets are cheap. Oh, yeah. And I'm telling you, they're less than $50 for two to go to a hockey game. And they're
learning stuff today too.
Semi-pro. So it's not like it's not too crazy, but it's also not like a Sunday league guys. They know what they're doing. They travel.
Good fights.
Yeah. That's the only thing that we agree on. Like, it kind of sucks. They don't let them fight.
Really?
Like, they'll let them go for like 2 seconds. But as soon as they start actually brawling.
Drew checking on us.
Oh, okay. He made it home safe?
Yeah.
Good. But yeah, as soon as those guys start brawling, they break them up and they put them in the pit for the penalty box or whatever. I'm like, let them fight. And
it's hockey. What's hockey without fights?
I know. I thought it was crazy. And you can see the crowd's reaction too. Everybody starts booing because they start breaking them up. It's really funny. But that's a cheap date.
Yeah.
It's close. It's cheap. And also, I hated board games. Michelle, I'm very sorry. She has her feelings about this. I really do. I hated board games. I liked chess, but I hated other board games.
Not a big board game guy either.
But now I really, really like board games, and we play a lot of board games together. How much are board games? $15 maybe?
Yeah. What game do you guys play?
Scrabble.
Okay, yeah, we did that for a little while.
Scrabble is fun because
my wife's vocabulary is so much better than mine, though. It's
gosh.
like shameful.
Let me tell you, it's not fair.
There are only so many three-letter words that I can come up with, and
it's not fair when she has her master's degree and she knows all these big words, and I'm yelling, "That's not fair! Can we get a fact check on this one? Like, what's this?" But yeah, board game. I'm again very sorry, but
but you've learned to love them, so that's it's okay.
And it's sometime that it's an hour, 30 minutes that you guys have together that you can just enjoy laughing. And I bring up Scrabble because there's so many funny words that you can you're like, that's not a word. And then you find out that it's actually a word, and it's just that much more funny. Yeah. And it's just a fun time. So yeah, Donnie said date your wife. Very important.
Ronnie, he said he gave unintentionally good advice.
Yeah.
He said, I'm still figuring it out myself.
That's what he started with, and everybody was like, yeah.
I have to say, this group of guys that came tonight are all the married guys, anyways, that are here tonight, are in great marriages that they're dedicated to, who love their wives, who talk positively about their wives. So there's nobody in this group who's going, oh, son, you're moving too fast, or, I don't know. There's nobody in this group that falls into that category. So these men are all men that are trying to give, positive, encouraging advice. And Ronnie's like, man, I'm still figuring it out myself. And I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. Like, that's great advice.
Yeah. It was supposed to be a joke, but it ended up being really good advice.
Because of course we're still trying to figure it out. Like, I'm almost 17 years into my marriage. We've been together for 21 years. Like, I'm still figuring it out too. You know, Joe's been married, what did he say, 21 years?
21.
He's still figuring it out too.
Yeah.
I think you should never stop. Never be like, oh, yep, got it. This is where we're at. This is where we die. No, keep trying to figure it out. I think that was good job, Ronnie. Well done, sir.
Yeah. And then there was Drew's at the end, but I got his first. But yeah, that was the advice. And again, going to the bachelor party, I mean, that's what I would rather have than, because
I'm sorry, there were no strippers or midgets or
you know, moose in the bikini or the Speedo, whatever you said. That would have been a sight.
He's gonna listen to this and go, what?
But yeah, that's everything that I wanted. It's really easy to get drunk and forget everything, and no thanks. I'm good.
Yeah, easy but not worth it.
No.
Yeah, and you mentioned Moose. You know, I talk about Moose on here quite a bit. He's, you know, a good friend. He's the painter here at the shop. He came tonight and he doesn't know Mateo. I think he's met you once before. He came to cook on the grill to stand out in the freaking freezing cold and cook on the grill for all of us. Mm-hmm. And when I asked him, he's like, yeah, I would love to. He's all about supporting you in your marriage too. He's been married for, I think 23 years. I think he just had his 23rd anniversary. And he also falls into the category of man who adores his wife and who, you know, has Christ at the center of his marriage. We should ask him for advice for you too.
Yeah.
I'm sure he also would have had some good advice.
Oh yeah.
But all right, we've been doing this for a little over an hour now. How about, do you have anything to say to your very soon to be bride? I told you she is our number one listener.
I know, she told me
every episode. if it doesn't come out on time, she's giving me and Drew a hard time. She says, you know, I didn't have anything to listen to on my way home from work on Wednesday. You better make it good.
She's gonna hear this. It's probably not. She's heard all of it, but I'm really proud of you for sticking through and believing when I didn't believe, and you know, shaping my life into what it is now. Because I honestly don't know where I would be without you. I would probably be, you know, actually drinking drunk somewhere and, you know, being stupid. But, you know, you've been a very important piece of my life, and very intelligent, very caring, very understanding, and I couldn't thank you enough for that. And I'm sorry for waiting this long. Also, a piece of advice for all the guys out there, not even married yet. It's not at all what you think that you see on TV. It's really easy when you care about the person and you keep Christ in the center. And shoot your shot, no matter what it looks like. Because like I said, my little dumb message got me where I'm at now. So shoot your shot, boys. It's worth it.
And again, you know, the group of men that we had in the shop today, none of us are freaking Fabio. Or who's the modern day Fabio? Who's the guy that all the women are like, over nowadays? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Depends on who you ask.
None
honestly.
of us are anything special. We're a bunch of knuckle dragging, you know, bald guy. You're more handsome than me, but still, we have all ended up with women that are far outside of our, you know, we've got a group of 3 or 4s in the men category, and the women are like 8-10s. So
11s.
Yeah, God designed us that way. I don't know why, but I'm thankful for it. And you know, you mentioned Michelle helping you to kind of mold you into the man that you're becoming. And, you know, back to the reference of forging. like us guys, especially when we're young, man, we're red hot steel. We are red hot steel, and we're forming into something. And with the help of a good woman who in a lot of ways selflessly, because it takes a level of selflessness to deal with the red hot steel that we can be, we can be formed into something that's good. Our job is to be good, to lead our wife well in the way that Christ leads us. We're supposed to lead our children well, and lead in our community well, and lead in our jobs, and all these things. And when we allow ourselves to be forged into that man, our wives are blessed by that, and our children are blessed by that, and our grandchildren are blessed by that. And what does he say? For 1,000 generations, we can be a blessing. But if we don't allow these women that God has put in our lives to help forge us into that, then that's a lot harder to accomplish. So I'm very grateful that I'm grateful that my wife has helped form me into what I am, and continues to help form me into what I'm supposed to be. I'm a long way from it, but I'm trying to move in that direction. And I'm very thankful that Michelle is being that for you. And that it's so very obvious that that's what she wants. That she's coming into this relationship selflessly, with your best interest in mind and your future family's best interest in mind. And it's wonderful to watch. I'm so excited for you guys. I can't wait. And we're going to do this again. We'll record another one once the deed has been done. Maybe we'll get Michelle on here too.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Let's do that.
Brother, I love you. I'm honored to be a part of this, to get to throw you this party here. And I just absolutely love watching the man that you're becoming and the relationship that you're building. It's wonderful, man. It gives me so much hope for younger people, and, just keep being the example that you are.
Thank you for being there. And
Happy to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good?
Yeah.
All right, man. That's it. This has been Iron and Grace. Out.